Hi guys, this video is going to be kind of all over the place today, but I feel like it'll be something different for you to watch at least. But something just recently came to my attention and I'd never heard of it before. And it's called Litter Mare Syndrome, and I've looked it up on the internet to try to see what it is. And it is called sibling aggression or litter mate aggression. It's a non-scientific anecdotal term that refers to a whole host of behavior issues that tend to present when canine siblings or litter mates are raised in the same household beyond the normal 8 to 10 week of age range when puppies are usually placed in homes. Now, this is from behavioralservices.com. And it's Litter Mare Syndrome if you want to look up the whole thing on it. But I have suspected ever since we got Bougie in Paris that they kind of were doing this. I guess I should kind of explain myself. What they say it means, placing two puppies in the household has caused at least one puppy to become temporarily unsuitable for work, even when both puppies started out as perfect candidates, I guess, for maybe service dogs, guide dogs. When two puppies are placed together, they learn to rely on each other. One of the puppies always becomes shy, even when both puppies started off as bold and outgoing. That has happened with us, but I think that happens with any pack. There's a pecking order in a pack of dogs. Even I'm the head of the pecking order, and Pet Dad's the head of all of us. This is a huge problem since it means that the shy puppy never reaches his or her potential. In fact, this was such a major issue that the guide dog experiment was quickly halted, and to this day, guide dog organizations only place one puppy at a time in puppy raisers' homes, even when the homes are highly experienced. Well, I kind of get that. I don't know if I want to read all this stuff, because it doesn't happen in every case, and it's not even in most cases from what I understand, but it does happen. The shy puppy becomes increasingly withdrawn and introverted and never reaches potential. Often even the bold puppy turns out to be nervous and uncertain when separated from the other one. The puppies often become incredibly codependent, exhibiting high anxiety when they're separated. They often fail to bond to their human family as strongly as they otherwise would, if at all. That kind of might be a thing for us. At social maturity, these puppies may begin fighting with one another, often quite severely. Even non-sibling puppies can exhibit litter mate syndrome when placed together. Professional trainers recommend against getting two puppies within 6 months of one another because the risks are just too high. This doesn't even take into account the other practical considerations, such as the increased cost of vet care, food supplies, and training, the extra work of training and caring for two dogs, or the time requirements of two active puppies. Can this syndrome be prevented? Theoretically, yes. However, it's so difficult as to be nearly impossible in practice. Remember, even experienced guide dog puppy raisers aren't expected to be able to prevent this issue from developing. At a bare minimum, the two puppies would need to, let me find my place. Where did I see that? To be crafted or for separately, including separate walks, training classes, and playtime with their owners. The puppies need to have more and more one-on-one time with their new owners than they have each other, effectively doubling the work and negating any of the possible benefits, like companionship from your dog that they were adopted together for in the first place. Bottom line, we absolutely know that the puppies do best when brought home separately. If you want multiple dogs, consider purchasing or adopting adult dogs who are already done developing. So, I kind of think I agree with this in my situation a little bit, but I already had noticed that the puppies were more into each other than they were the family at first. Now, our puppies started out, whoops, I dropped my scissors, a little bit challenged because of me breaking my leg the day they came home, and I had to be on non-weight bearing for 6 weeks and then pretty much off of it for another 4 or 5 weeks, but just with wheelchair and stuff like that. But anyway, So what I decided to do without knowing about Litter Mare Syndrome was I would separate them, like let one out to potty at a time, because they just play and get mud all over each other instead of pottying. Eventually they would potty, but they were filthy. And then I started putting one outside and paying attention to the other one. And we crated them separately, even though we made it where they could get, there was a playpen between the crates with the side doors open so they could get to each other if they wanted to, because we didn't really know about Litter Mare Syndrome anyway. But they kind of hang together. But actually, they accept Roxie, and some puppies with Litter Mare Syndrome even ignore the other dogs in the house. And Roxie plays with them just as much as, you know, they play with each other. But now my son Jay had to teach Paris and Bougie how to shake, and he's been working on getting them to try to sit and stuff like that. And so now that I know about this, I'm going to try to work with them more separately. I'm going to take them on more car rides separately. And there's that. So here, a different part of the video, I decided to trim Roxie's top knot a little bit and trim around her eyes. It's just a little light trim. And she hadn't had her bath yet. I was going to give her a bath over the weekend, but I wasn't feeling good. So that looks like I'm just brushing her too hard, but I'm not. Those slicker brushes do that. Somewhere in here, I've got a couple little hair balls that I'm showing in the video. You'll see, and it shows like even as long as their hair is when I brush them. And I think I waited 3 days to brush them this time. That's all the hair, about a size of a $50 circle of hair from 2 dogs that had not been brushed in 3 days. And none of that hair fell out of their coat. It stays in their coat. And so you hear them out there wrestling now. And they sound like they're killing each other, but they're not. One thing, they're coming into heat and they're very grumpy, but they're not hurting each other. They're just acting like that. They wrestle and get like that and get mad. But anyway, so I was trimming Roxie's face here, and just, you know, with the chunker scissors, thinning the hair out on her top knot. And I plucked the hair out of her ears. And I cut the hair out of her mouth. And when you're getting around their mouth, if you do this, you be real careful that you get that lip where you can see it and don't guess where it is, and don't cut their lip. And if you see any wet hair under there, just cut it, because you know it's going in their mouth and you don't want them to have a mouthful of hair. So I called her over there, and she's starting to get better about letting me touch her face again from that bad grooming experience she had. She's right there letting me brush and check her out, you know, and smooth out her top notch. I had her cut like a poodle last time, and Pet Dad didn't really like that, so I'm going to let her hair grow out a little bit on her face and head and stuff, try to turn her back into a doodle. Probably take me till about August. I don't know. If we keep doing good at Casey's, I may take her up there every once in a while and let them groom her, because they are awesome with Bougie and Paris. I mean, they just do great with them. So anyway, there I am, taking the chunkers and the curved scissors and just kind of fluffing her hair up and going around and around and around, you know, around her top knot, and fluffing it up and getting it all nice and smooth best I can before her bath. And when I get done with this, I'll show you a few little shots of her bath time, just to give you something to see. I'm still waiting on the embark health testing that we did on both the puppies, and Ori Vet's repeat testing, because Paris wouldn't sit still for me. I just realized I'm moving this swing around and making it squeak. I'm sorry about that noise. But anyway, there I am, just fluffing up on Roxie's hair, seeing if I can get anything to stick up that's going to. She's laying over there now on the swing wet, watching me. I forgot to put any show sheen on her hair, so when I get done with this video voiceover, I'll do that, because she looks beautiful with show sheen. But anyway, I'm trying to grow her head back out like a Golden Doodle instead of a poodle, so Pet Dad will be happy with me. And the Litter Mare Syndrome thing, while I'm piddling around watching me cut Roxie's top knot near her face, they sit on there, those dogs can get just to where they hate each other, and they're always going at each other. and you can get them put into a training school. So if you guys, anybody out there is thinking about getting litter mates, I kind of agree with doing it because you can get all the housebreaking and all the training over with at the same time. But at the same time as that, I would recommend that just to be safe, you separate them, maybe 20 minutes a day and show some one-on-one attention. Last night I put Bougie in the chair with me and I let Paris and Roxy stay out on the back deck, which is where I'm usually out with them, outside, or they're in the backyard. And I'm on the porch, and Bougie was so sweet and so loving, and she got up in the chair and cuddled up to me. She never will get up in my chair in a half recliner because she's afraid of Roxy, because that's usually where Roxy sits. And there's 3 beds in the floor that are better than any human being could ask for, and they're dog beds. And Roxy don't want theirs. She wants to sit up by me, which she always has. She's got a pillow there so she won't poke her toenails through the leather furniture. But anyway, Bougie was just the only one, and that little baby was the sweetest thing. And now they're 7 months, 1 week, and 2 days old, coming up on 1 year, and I don't think I've messed around too long with this sibling thing to where I can't completely break them of being dependent on one another. But they say they'll whine after each other, and mine don't do that. I had Roxy in the bathroom a while ago with me giving her a bath, and Bougie was laying there crying under the door, but Roxy's not her litter mate. Roxy's been here long years before Bougie came. So I think they're just all bonded to each other, and they worry about each other. But I do think litter mate syndrome is probably a thing, because they sort of started out like this, and we ended up getting beep and vibrate collars. Now there is a shock feature on there, but you can turn it off. If you get one of those, get one that you can disable the shock part, because I didn't even want that on there at all, but you can disable it on theirs. But anyway, I just if they get to wrestling too hard like they were a while ago, I just beep first, and that's usually all it takes is the beeping sound. It's just a high-pitched beep that I can hear, and if that doesn't work, then I hit the vibrate, and I've done it to myself to see what it feels like, and it's literally a vibrate. It just gets their attention, and they look around like, what in the world is that? It's nothing bad. Here's one of the remotes to it. Well, I can't show it to you. I forgot. I'm editing the video instead of recording right now. But the remote's just like a TV remote, and you can pull up the shock part and turn it to 0, and then lock it like that, and you won't have to worry about shocking them, because that's just stupid. Unless you got a killer dog or something, you wouldn't want to use those. And some people don't believe in them anyway. I never believed in using one until someone I know that has a Great Dane did that to, I think, get theirs to come when they called and get them to stop barking. And that does help. If they bark a lot, you can get that. But if you've got a bad temper and you want to just, don't get one of them, because I'd hate to see a dog get mistreated because somebody got they got their bad temper in an uproar, because that could happen, I guess, unless you love your dog too much to hit the shock thing. But the vibrate and the beep is plenty. Actually, the beep's plenty, the beep part. And so on Roxy, what I do, I comb that up. Now, since I had her like a poodle, I had more of a square top on there. Now I'm combing it up and trying to kind of round it into a point on top of her head, but also flatten it so she's like a doodle. It'll take a little while for her to grow into that, but she'll get it done. I'll get it done for her. I used to have a license to cut human hair, and I still cut my family's hair sometimes. I cut my husband's hair all the time. And I kind of do that like you do on a dog, the human hair way. That's why I don't do it exactly like other people do on a dog. And I've said before, Roxy's had some pretty bad haircuts in her lifetime, but I've learned. And the only reason I don't take her to the groomer is because when my leg was broke, she had a bad experience. And I know that lady done something, smacked her in the face or did something to her, because she went to a shop that I had no problem getting into, and usually there's a waiting list. But she wouldn't even let me touch her face, and I had to fight her for the longest time. I think today's the first time I've not had to fight her. She's just sitting there like she always does. See her kind of turn her head, but she knows I'm cutting hair out of her mouth. But she is getting a lot better. And also, I just want to say I had just mowed 2.5 acres of yard and took my shower. And I've got my pajama top on, and my hair has dried in the scraggly style, which is usually scraggly anyway. I don't care. But anyway, so yeah, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I had took my shower and let my hair dry and decided to start working on Roxie. There I am plucking the hair out of her ears. You can get that ear powder on Amazon or wherever. I don't know. You can probably get it at the store somewhere, and you just kind of sprinkle that on there so you can get a grip on the hair. And you just pluck it. And usually I'll work on their ears just a little at a time. And they don't really mind it. And the more you do it, the more they let you do it. She'll just lay back because she don't know how much I'm going to do, but she lets me pluck the hair out of her ears, because you have to do that or their hair will build up in their ears and they'll start to get ear infections from the moisture. That's the poodle in them. So that's why I'm doing that. I've got everything in this world you could possibly need to groom dogs with, and I use it quite a bit, but I don't always I don't do it all the time on the puppies. Whatever the groomer needs me to do, I'll just look them over and see if they need help. If she wasn't able to get to something on them because they were struggling too much, and then I'll just kind of do it. And I dremel their toenails myself just to help her out, because she doesn't even really charge me all that much. I'm amazed. I think she does both my dogs for what one would cost in the Paducah, Kentucky area or the Metropolis area. And it's not shoddy work. She really does a great job, and the dogs are happy when we get there, and they're happy when we take them back home. They're not depressed. Paris will sometimes be a little tired because she doesn't like to be told what to do. She's a little bit strong-willed, but not mean. She's very sweet, just like Bougie is, but she's kind of strong-willed, and she's stubborn when you want her to do something. She'll like when I give her a bath, she'll try to get out one time, every time. She'll try to get out, and I'll be sopping wet. And then that's it. She's over it, you know. So I'm putting the lid on the ear powder, and now I'm going to take Roxie. Oh, there's my shears that I used today. There she is laying there dry, and we're going to the bath. And I'll show you how cool she is. I've got the water run with Dawn dish soap just because she gets her feet so grimy, but I wash her with Dog Groomer Tearless Shampoo, almond scented, I think it is. And I have to get her feet clean, so I do that. And there she is. She gets in the water for me. She's awesome. I couldn't film the whole bath because I had to have one hand to hold the camera, so I would just kind of, wet her down and work on her, and I sudsed her face up and tried to show that. You mostly should get the Doodles' faces really, really clean, because they eat there, they clean themselves, and that gets there. Everything, they smell the ground, they smell each other, they lick each other. You gotta kind of make sure you get that face washed good. And Roxie's muzzle itches a lot, and I think she has yeast issues, because that kind of sometimes comes with that. There she is. I got her all soaked up. Water's not too bad. It's just because of her grass-stained feet. See, I wash her face really good. And also, don't get water in their ears. Put a couple of cotton balls in there. Don't poke them in there. Just barely stick them in there. And that way, if water does kind of drip off their ears in there, it'll prevent it from going down in the ears. Because Roxie has a lot of trouble with ear infections, just because I think she's got yeast issues. And it's likely when the puppies get older, I'll probably put them all on raw meat. That's what I had the bulldogs on, because there's nothing better than a really raw meat diet to cure yeast problems. And I used to get that from the Amish people in Melbourne, Kentucky. They packaged it up for me. And they had what they called dog food meat, and it was cow, trimmings off of cow steaks. They don't have pork at Amish, but they would cut up the organ meat for me, all the things that are really good and healthy. There she is, all dried off, waiting on her mom to dry her feet. She's so good. She gets a bath, and she's so good, especially since she got over being at that horrible woman's grooming salon, or that whole bunch of them, I won't say their name, but if I ever hear somebody's going there, I'll have to tell them. So now she's got her hair dried pretty good. She's going out to the back deck. Thanks for watching my video. Please